fine living, which benefits our lifestyle that we want for ourselves, and we are capable, and we over and over again choose to take 2 steps back. I get there's a lot of fear there, but when we know that we can do this and we always choose to go back, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, I don't remember whose exercise this is, but there's an exercise you can do where you ask yourself the question, what are you afraid of? And you write down the answer. Excuse me. As soon as you're done writing down the answer, you look at your answer and you say, yeah, but what are you really afraid of? And you write down another answer, and then you look at that one and say, okay, sure, but what are you really afraid of? And you just keep writing down answers till you can't come up with any more. And I think in the end, what we almost always come to is some form of worthiness issue. We're just not sure that we deserve to have the good that we are encountering. And I think we all go through it. I know I wrestle with that one more than any other self-doubt problem that I have in this world. It's a worthiness issue, and I recognize that. And I think it comes from things that happened to us when we were young. It comes from parents, from peers, from bosses, from friends. It comes from all kinds of people, particularly for entrepreneurs. I think entrepreneurs come into a space where, when you first started out and you were going to go, and this may not apply to everybody, but everyone in some way, shape, or form has had some semblance of this experience where you start out on your own. You leave the quote the real world and go off to become an entrepreneur, and in particularly a service-based kind of entrepreneur, like a coach. And people say, "Oh, get real. Who are you kidding? Go get a job. You're never going to make any money doing that. That's a bunch of baloney. That's all crap. You can't do that. You can't make money at that." And we, rather than and kind of divorce ourselves from that and recognize that this is our truth, not their truth, we tend to absorb that. And as we absorb that, that becomes part of that subconscious programming. And I think too often that's where we learn to take those 2 steps back. I think this comes from a combination of coaching and spiritual counseling, Susan. I truly believe that each and every one of us needs to build what I refer to as a spiritual toolbox. And in that spiritual toolbox is all the tools that I need to repair whatever is not working at the moment. And then there's an idea of developing an awareness similar to the question you ask yourself, what am I getting out of this? My question is, when things are not going the way I want them to, my question is, okay, what is not working here? What is not serving me in this situation? And if I ask myself that question, almost always I'm going to get an answer. It tells me something about myself, and I have a tool in my toolbox that I can go to. Sometimes it's a book. Sometimes it's a meditation. Sometimes it's just to go sit quietly. Sometimes it's a walk. Sometimes it's just to be smart enough to say, get up from the computer and walk away, stupid. Sometimes I just need to be that aware. I mean, we've all been there. Haven't you been there? Where you sat there, sit there in front of that computer, you're doing and you're doing and you're doing, and you're accomplishing zero. At the end of the day, the only thing you've got to congratulate yourself on is your busyness, and you've accomplished nothing. Well, the key is, if you had gotten up hours ago and walked away and walked around the block, I don't care what you do, have a smoke if that's what you do, have a cup of coffee, whatever it is, just move away and relax, calm down. I know you got to go to a commercial here. I'd like to come back and talk more about that one.
Oh, definitely. We'll be back just in a few seconds, and I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that this is the Susan Kildall Show, and to thank all of our guests for tuning in and watching and chatting and listening. We're going across many different networks, and my special guest today is Ken Ludwig. When we come back, we're going to keep talking about what are we getting from this? Is why the right question, and mindfulness for business owners. We'll be right back.